talk a little bit about Ole and the pressure. And I want to talk about two things with regards to, what you've grown up with and what you see with the round ball. More specifically with Ole, because from the outside looking in, I see similarities between he and David Teague at times, just in sense of the aura around the gravity around Manchester United, the aura around the gravity of the Carlton Football Club, and have they got the chutzpah to take that role? And then the pressure. I want to talk about what's the pressure that you notice with the AFL coaching landscape compared to that in England.
Well, I think firstly, it's culture. Australians are a lot more patient. If you ask any POM about getting an emergency plumber out, in England, that's 5 minutes, no matter where you are. In Australia, it's customary to be about 2-3 hours. The first time I called one, he turned up in the morning, and I called him at 3 a.m, and he arrived at 9. Yeah. So that's a big difference to a POM. But we don't really give you time. But you see United, big club, they've got a reputation of churning through managers. The press play on that. United, they've made a mistake again. And it affects a club. So United now are actually effectively scared to sack Ollie. They're scared to, because they know sack him and that's it. That it's another mistake. And you can see the owners are wary of that. And it happens all the time in soccer. Every time a manager gets sacked, you get a reputation, takes a chairman to really come in and say, I'm sacking another one. So that's the first difference. But the big one tactically is Ollie is similar to Teague. He has a system in play. He's got a mindset of how he wants to play. The problem is, doesn't work with the cattle. And the cattle is important. He's got a great superstar cattle, but he's asking them to play a way that he's familiar with. He's coached in Norway. He's coached Cardiff. These are Mickey Mouse clubs that are used to counter-pressing. And these sides don't know how to do it. So this weekend, he changed it. He beat Spurs, but they're a Mickey Mouse club themselves. But it's time to see how that goes. If you watch Brighton this week, great example for Carlton fans. I want you to go back and watch the Brighton game. They are in position to tackle at all times. It's how Potter sets them up. You can see Carlton this year, bottom 4 in tackles, bottom 4 in tackle attempts. If you're not there to tackle, it doesn't matter how good you are, you can't defend. So Brighton are probably the benchmark of how you set up against a good side.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued with just world sport and where I can find parallels, whether it be in the free agency, trading culture, or just the pressures of fans on sporting teams culture. I just think, when United lost, what was it, 5-0 to Liverpool, the first thing I thought of was the reaction and how he'd be able to handle it. And, obviously the AFL coaching landscape is crazy as well. You've got 18 coaches. There can only be 18 coaches at any given time, which, there is a lot of pressure, but it really almost is minute in terms of the numbers of people talking about the position compared to the sports around the world.
Yeah, and I think the similarity with Ollie and Teague is he's a former player. Now, David Teague was nowhere near the level of footballer that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was for United, nowhere near the talent, but has that affinity with the club. And everyone, no matter how hard you are as a human being, has an emotional attachment to that kind of emotional story, a former player managing them back to the top. But there's the problem with the United fans. 5-0 to Liverpool. I don't care who you are. You should be sacked straight away. That's unacceptable. If we lost 5-0 to Celtic, I'd want Gerrard sacked. I'd want him sacked tomorrow, regardless of what he's done. It's unacceptable. So there's that emotional attachment as well. And you can see the fans are wanting him. I was watching United stands pre-game. They all said, we want him to succeed, though. And that's the problem. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you want. The guy's not good enough. And in my opinion, if they lose 5-0 to your City, that Champions League medal he won us is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's tarnished forever.
Very interesting.